Welcome back to the Spring Playoff Finals and Game 4 between Cloud9 and Team SoloMid. The series stands at 2-1 in favor of Team SoloMid now, and they just need one more win to defend their championship title. It's going to be a messy Game 4, I believe.
Yeah, we look at the way this series has been going, and it's probably mostly a correlation, but Sejuani is 3-0 against Gragas. Meteos had that 5-man Sejalt in Game 1 that completely turned the tides, but since then, Santorin has been out-farming Meteos' Gragas in the jungle on Sejuani and ultimately limiting Meteos' ability to impact and carry the game. The other guy that has been showing up for TSM is actually Dyrus. He's been able to stay on an island for the most part, not die to heavy attention from Meteos and balls when it happens, play the early lane swaps well, and that 5.8 KDA in 3 games is nearly double what his KDA was in the regular season. Dyrus definitely stepping up for TSM here when it matters most.
Yeah, he's definitely pulling out the stops, his own plays as well, and not being reactive to team calls. We saw that teleport last game be very pivotal in controlling the push that he almost died in and then teleported back in half HP. So it'll be really interesting to see if TSM keeps that momentum. Like you even said, passing the, I think it was Reginald in the hallway, he said, yeah, we'll lose first one, but the next three, we're good to go.
That is the classic TSM move at this point in a best of 5. I really wonder whether Cloud9 is going to switch up their bans here. They've been putting 2 bans at Lustina or Lust Boy.
Yeah, can't see him.
I mean, with the first ban Thresh, it looks like that third ban could be Janna. I'm hoping that their third ban is on a jungler here so that they can either force Team SoloMid to ban the other one, or they can deny, because they're really trading Sejuani and Gragas here, and there they go. They do ban the Urgot and the Gragas.
Perfect. So here's the thing as well. I feel like Cloud9 needs to win Champion Select to win the game altogether. With Santorin and Bjergsen both coming off perfect games last game, 508 for Bjergsen, Santorin 1014. They are riding very high and not much can stop them, even on level play. You're going to have to play better. TSM right now is just getting all the advantages they want. Nautilus is the advantage for Lemon. He finally gets to pick that up in the series.
I liked what happened here where by Cloud9 banning one jungler, they necessitated the ban from Team SoloMid on the other main power jungler. Gragas and Sej are the 2 main power junglers on this patch for these 2 teams. Therefore, Team SoloMid had to drop one of their bans, which unlocks Lemon Nation to play Nautilus. Really nice stuff here.
What will it be? Because this actually puts a lot of pressure on the junglers now. They've been able to just sit back on Sej and Gragas. Now it's different.
Nunu is the team fighting jungler. Vi is the denial jungler here because Meteos and Santorin have both kind of carried games. I'm surprised that Santorin didn't kind of leave this to later. His Nidalee has been off the charts good in a lot of these games. And instead of doing a reactive pick, they just preemptively say, Meteos, nope, you're not going to carry this one on Vi. Making sure Santorin plays it.
Well, that also means High has to be careful in his pick. So far, they just go for the Zac and the safety of Sivir as well for Sneaky once again.
I like it.
Very comfortable with those pickups. Kalista Cannon, no second thought about that one as Bjergsen locks that in for Lustboy.
No Janna today for Lustboy. His cannon has been so effective.
It really has.
Stopping turret dives, ganking mid, has not been punched at all in lane. His laning has been very strong on it. Really just a solid pick for him to pick up. Normally it's Lemon Nation who's picking up the newer support picks, but this time Lustboy beats him to the punch.
Wow, the fast lock. He goes back to his Zed, something he went towards very much so at the end of the split. Almost had 3 or 4 games in a row on that Zed before people started taking it away from him again. And the Vladimir, again, it's going to be locked in for balls now.
Zed not typically something you play into a team-fighting tanky team, but looking at TSM's composition, since they banned away the main jungle tanks, they banned away the main tank mid laner and Urgot, and they're looking at that, TSM has 3 squishy people already. What do? What's the question? Pick an assassin, classic Cloud9.
Yeah, mid lane Deer, do it. But if he plays Nadu Deer, then he's not mid lane Deer, and we're okay. What will High
of all the champions to hover, why would
rather say Bjergsen decide? Watch Bjergsen take that, and he does play Janna. Ooh, the Cho'Gath.
They got to go with something tanky in the mid lane, so High can't assassinate it. Silence as well is awesome against Zed. This is a smart pick here for Bjergsen.
Really locks it out. High maybe thinking he can just kill Lustboy whenever he wants since he doesn't focus that Zanya's, but you got to be careful. Fade's call will also save that. A lot of very tricky plays and untargetable people here to come into this game. Vladimir pickup. It's going to balls. Most likely, we'll see that coming out of the top lane. He should definitely be able to do very well in the 2v1 here as Vlad. We'll see if they play that any different here.
Yeah, I like this. This is really something different than what's been happening in this series.
I was about to say, Cloud9 hasn't done that yet.
I didn't like Cloud9's bans last game because they mimicked Game 1 bans in a series that had momentum slightly for Team SoloMid. It was proven that Team SoloMid was going to be winning with the same pick bans. Time to change it up. Because of that, Cloud9 gets a classic composition. CC from the support jungle role, damage from everybody else. And it puts them in a comfort zone, hopefully, against TSM, who is now moved off a little bit. Bjergsen on Shogath, not the biggest playmaker.
Right.
He actually lost to Cloud9 on Shogath in the final game of the regular season. And this is a pick and ban that could set us up for Game 5, unless TSM makes an outplay, in my opinion.
The trophy. Taking a look on at the games, wondering whose house it will be in at the end of the day. And right now it's looking like Team SoloMid's as they've been coming out strong, but like you said, Cloud9 deciding to switch things up in the bans, and now hopefully coming out with a composition that'll trick TSM. Let us know who you think has the edge going into Game 4. Send either hashtag C9win or hashtag TSMwin to @LOL Esports, and we will tally your votes up throughout the game. Very interested to see this Bjergsen Cho'Gath pickup. He can really wreak havoc or just be a nuisance in the mid lane with that. How will High coordinate his ganks, his attacks as well? Definitely leads into a game where Cloud9 can kind of go to their 1-3-1 if they want to start getting a split push on. It's a real good way they spread their enemy out thin and start to pick them off.
How much of a factor will Santorin be on Vi as well?
That's right. We got two different junglers coming in for the entire series now.
It's a pretty big factor already. Look at those recall animations.
Absolutely dancing around. Still going.
Yeah. So, biggest change that Cloud9 needs to make early on is figure out what they want to do with this early jungle, because they got outplayed last game. The supports have been making very aggressive invades on the side where they think the enemy jungle is starting, but this game more than ever, we actually have the most defensive wards we've had yet. So scouting where someone is going to start the jungle becomes increasingly difficult. It looks like TSM may end up guessing it properly. For Lustboy, he's going to be trying to invade this Cloud9 start. Now, will Cloud9 start at blue buff, or will they start at Gromp and then transition to blue buff? If they do the latter and Lustboy invades quickly, they may have some issues taking the blue buff. We'll have to track this because Lemon Nation is also in position to harass the TSM jungle.
He has not taken a skill just yet. We'll probably head in with that Riptide so he can get a bit of AoE and slow for the harass and no chase. Here we see Lustboy making his way over. Oh.
It's a mid lane move that a lot of people use on that guy. And Lemon, well, there's some early harass from both these guys. What a monster. Santorin doesn't have smite.
He's also playing it perfectly. Dyrus now being the one to be in front of that. Santorin's going to have to walk right out of this one. And what a job by Lemon Nation. Repeats again. Can the same thing happen over here? No, it's actually High who already came out. A flash goes down, and they know that's enough to return and hit that lane later. They're not going to try to pressure it.
As he comes right back despite not having flash.
The fearless Kennen.
Man, so this is why TSM has been banning all this. For one, Lemon Nation's level 1 harass in the jungle. That's the best support for level 1 harass. This time as well, Cloud9 makes a nice adaptation. High actually forgoes a little bit of experience in the mid lane to help them take at least 2 camps during the double jungle, whereas Santorin still sitting on level 1 3 minutes into the game. So this time, successful jungle denial. Meteos will be ahead of Santorin early on.
This will be the test now. If Santorin can get through this jungle, he's definitely been able to fix all the problems that any LCS player would put him up against in the early game. Did it last game quite effectively. Meteos going very, very low. Gets his smite out at the last second there. Get the level, get his help.
Yeah. Now, the other problem that happened for Cloud9 in the last game, side lane wave control. The second thing they have to do to get out of this early game properly. it's a very similar start to last game, so that's why you have to directly compare these things. Will Dyrus be able to soak experience? Doesn't look like it. The wave is actually being frozen against him properly this time, so Dyrus should be denied. Balls, it's not all sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows up there either.
Nope.
He is also getting denied. 0 CS, and no CS close either.
I don't think Vlad likes those kind of things anyways. It's just not the type. He is going to head into the jungle, however. Seems like they're going to do a little double jungling here to make sure Meteos can keep himself at a good rate of getting through the jungle. He wants to stay very much ahead of Santorin here and give him no chance to come back. Hai is already back, brings 2 long swords to the lane now, 24 to 22. It looks like Santorin's actually going to be staying here now, so Hai may be able to get some good trade damage down being up in that lane.
Yeah.
A little bit of armor for Bjergsen. Keep him safe.
Pretty good start, all things told, for Cloud9. Nice early jungle harass. The jungle upgrade for Meteos first. Hai sticking with Bjergsen early, and the threat of supporter jungler gank is diminished because Lustboy's flash was burned during harassment, and Santorin was destroyed early on in the jungle. Therefore, Hai gets to play somewhat aggressive against Bjergsen's Cho'Gath.
It'll be nice for him at least this game. He has been definitely on the back foot for Bjergsen. All the ganks have been going at Hai, making sure to shut him down. We'll see what the Freedom provides for him this time. Right now, they're getting a nice steal over here on the blue. Make it out quite easily as well. Good focus here from Cloud9 to put something on the plate early. Shouldn't really affect Bjergsen too much, as he can just stay in that lane and keep regenning with his passive. It's even CS all around. Still watching how Meteos is getting himself through, though. No CS for balls just yet.
Yeah, big wave hitting the turret up top for Cloud9. They're going to give that up in order to get the Dragon on their side. Be interesting to see if TSM can finish off that turret, and also whether Sneaky will push the bottom lane, because it looks like Cloud9 is holding the freeze for longer, and that means they would not be able to trade a turret if that happens.
Yeah, quite a bit of damage. 10% on that top turret. Ooh, he thought he was going to have the bite, but Hai got out of range. He couldn't see him. He stays, though. Dyrus is the one to come in. The flash twisted advance to pick up first blood. There's the knockup from Rupture, but no follow-up damage after everything has been expent. Lemonation puts himself in a very bad situation. The anchor toss will come back up quicker with hitting that terrain, but I don't think he's going to be able to get out. He was in a bad spot, and the error calculated by Team SoloMid.
Pretty big error there by Lemonation. Yeah. That's the second poor flash he has had in this series. First one being where he flashed directly behind a Scion ultimate and still died. So, big time moves for TSM there. Bjergsen specifically hitting level 6 as he hit the Rupture, forcing the double flash there in the mid lane. And second game in a row where Dyrus gets first blood. That is so key when he is getting denied in these lane swaps to be 5 CS. 7 minutes into the game, but to have that first blood kill puts him a good 600 gold ahead of Balls' Vladimir at this point in the game.
What a collapse there by TSM. Their communication is definitely on point, where it seems it took a few seconds there for C9 to really act. See if they can keep it going. It's only very, very early in the game. We still have plays here to be possibly made by Hai carrying from the mid. Sneaky and Lemon back to lane, and that vote swayed way back in the favor of TSM.
Monster plays in the mid lane right there, picking up 2 kills off of pretty much nothing. They just kind of appeared in the mid lane. Bjergsen landed all of his skill shots. Dyrus arrived at the right time. TSM is 1 game away from winning the North American LCS Spring Split.
See how they do now. All these lanes are matched back up, so Balls and Dyrus are going to be able to farm themselves quite nicely. And that is big for Balls, as he was pretty much getting nothing in the beginning of this game. Still paying attention to how Cloud9 is taking these buffs. So far hasn't really impacted the game. Bjergsen still was able to get something out of mid lane. So C9 is kind of fighting their own battles that aren't giving them results just yet.
Yeah, and already they have to come back from behind. Which they did in game 1 to their credit, but a 2,000 gold lead 8 minutes in is actually rather large. Callista Cannon as well has a lot of kill threat. If Lustboy can get experience. He's level 3 on Kenny right now. So, not
always
worried about
weird.
that yet for a while.
You see the AD carries and you think it's soon, but nope, the supports, they've been roaming all day. What will be the play in the bottom lane? Lemon Nation walks away for just a second and cannot be continued by Sneaky as he wants to wear those Ren stacks off before heading back into the fight. Smartly done as well. Not too many core items coming out, just the first of recipes around the map as well. BF swords for the 80 carries, that Cutlass and the Fiendish Codex for the mid laners. Oh, there's a great trade.
Yeah, nice little trade back there by Cloud9. Revenge for Wild Turtle's damage on Sneaky. This time Lustboy could no longer enter a fight safely. Sneaky been the bright spot for Cloud9 this series. Even in the games they're losing, he's able to make some clutch plays. They're really going to need him to do well here as Balls will take a long time to ramp up on Vladimir.
Literally almost killing Wild Turtle there. Yeah, well, with the time they're giving themselves, they have a lot of breathing room to stay down here. Farm this one out. We'll see how much turret damage they try to put on this one as Balls gets all the time to farm this in the top lane. You can see he wasn't having the easiest time against Dyrus, but he was also letting his lane push because he didn't have a turret.
High even trying to roam down there for a potential dive, but because he actually got spotted by a pink ward without checking the brush, there's a chance that TSM is waiting for High to return.
Well, they're definitely pushing his lane, making sure he has to take control of it once again. At least getting something to work there.
Even under the turret, those guys are tanky enough that if High gets in range for a Maokai W, he would die.
At this point, he definitely has to be careful. I wouldn't put it past Dyrus and Bjergsen to go in for that anyways. Coming from the bottom side, Lustboy thinks it's something they can get as well. He looks to actually just show himself right in the mid lane for a bit of pressure. Not real ganking. Great damage coming out of Maokai here in the early game. Dyrus again going for the 2-ring build. Could be right into that Righteous Glory once again.
Probably.
Once you extend it already.
Yeah, it's true. Seems to be what TSM wants to go for the initiation potential.
Yep.
It's actually, I'd say, the more common Maokai now.
Yeah.
Is the Righteous Glory rather than the Rod of Ages.
It's weird. You don't think it'll work the same, and you're like, wow, this is actually really great.
I'm really fast and super tanky. All right.
All right, so good pressure here in the mid. I like that Bjergsen has turned off those Vorpal spikes to make sure he doesn't grab any silly aggro as it
High's in trouble
flies
here.
by.
Shadow down and Rupture
Oh,
lands.
Rupture does hit right after Shadow comes, but they also know seems a little too quiet here on the home front. Maybe not. Bjergsen wants to go in. Over the wall comes Meteos, but he's quickly punched in the jaw as he bounces around from Santorin. Looks like they should be able to grab this with a big wave coming.
Yeah, they got a big wave. Cloud9 still a little bit dangerous. High flashes back.
Whoa, all the way back to High. That's going to be the hit out as well. Fate's call chucks Lustboy back in. He's going to die throwing down Flash and Exhaust in that one.
Oh,
and TSM
no.
finding a bit of what they want here. 2 kills already, and Balls was almost in the wrong spot there at the right time for TSM.
2-for-1 trade and the turret there. Sneaky was trying to farm off in the bottom lane. Now trying to come in on the backside of this fight. He's got to be incredibly careful.
Nope, thought he was going to let Fizzle out.
May as well just take the dragon.
Might as well. So Cloud9 definitely has to start putting on the damage control. Things are not looking good, especially with the momentum of 2 games now behind Team SoloMid and the taste of victory right on the tip of their tongue.
He's going to try a steal against Kalista. Really hard to do.
Flew right over. Let's bounces down from that last engage. Remember, cannot get the slow on either. It looks like he will not be able to blob about well enough for the team to pick up kills. Team SoloMid get out with another turret there in mid lane, a few kills, and then back to Dragon.
Yeah, and Cloud9's in a really tough spot here. Down turrets, down kills, even in Dragons. Down in the series, knowing they have to win both this game and the next if they want to take the crown here in North America. Slight desperation mode might kick in for Cloud9.
Yep.
When that's kicked in so far this series, or even in IM Katowice, desperation mode for Cloud9 is a very dark place. You do not want to go there as Cloud9. They overcommit. Their smart play goes out the window. They need to remain controlled here. The 5-man push up the mid lane during recalls was smart. They do not need to turret dive. They just need to continue to trade objectives like Cloud9 did in their Game 1 victory.
Dark Cloud9. You don't want that.
Yeah.
That's the Thunderstorm. It's not working out for them. Here, looks like they have drifted towards the top lane, however. And TSM Not too worried about these outer turrets going down. It might be more of a danger for them to try and put protection on it, so they hold steady. Dyrus is going to be able to trade here in the bottom as he gets that Righteous Glory built up safely. And both teams are going to back. Oh, just take it down. You got big fists. 73 to 47 is the out of that top lane, though. Definitely a pretty big disparity.
He wants to deny some CS, but the cannon lives, most likely. Yep.
That one time when you were like, minions, don't be so strong? No one ever said that. 14 minutes on this. TSM cracks a little bit more of the outside of the base as they themselves lost the top turret here. But Cloud9 is still, I think, waiting for TSM to make moves. They're not really the one that's going to be putting their foot out there first.
Well, they need to get a little bit later in the game. So
that's true. Just buy some time.
Vladimir can have an impact is the main thing. Although the mid-game power spike, once again, of Bjergsen's mid laner is really hard to deal with. I mean, a couple of things coming into the series we thought might hinge it. Bjergsen and his ability to shut down high. Well, he has in most of these games, and Bjergsen's been an absolute force to be reckoned with in the mid-game or the late game, and tilts these matchups heavily. The second thing, though, is that Dyrus has actually been outperforming Balls in a global sense. They're mainly just the beneficiaries of support player lane swaps, but the TSM lane swaps have actually given Dyrus several advantages here. And that means the lone bright spots for Cloud9 would either be Meteos, who's been getting outfarmed by Santorin in most of the games, including this one, or Siki, who has actually been outperforming for the most part in CS. But you can't just have one guy. You need the whole team to be able to outperform in order to win a series. And that's why TSM may end up winning this one 3-1 if Cloud9 doesn't somehow come back from this 3,000 gold deficit.
Well, right now they are sitting on just the perfect amount of kills. They have 4. It's across their priority targets as well. Everybody has 1, so they are getting fed accordingly. And Cloud9 is only looking for the wave clear here. TSM knows they have C9 against the ropes, and they're going to continue to pressure this. You were talking about how kind of Dyrus is also outplaying Balls. Like the way with the bans against Balls, they almost forced him to play the Dyrus game of safety. You're not going to be providing much for the team, and all year, Dyrus has been playing that, so he's going to be better at it on the spot.
Yeah, heavy Hecarim bans. When Cloud9 has been on the red side, TSM has been banning Vladimir as well.
Right.
So this time at least Balls is on the Vladimir, but in the early game he's heavily shut down. So it's not like he's been able to lane against Maokai and assert his dominance.
Exactly. Also looking for the pressure here from High, one of his most winningest champions that he could have selected here, especially in the finals. That puts a lot of pressure on him, being the shot caller and the one to be one of the priority playmakers here on Zed. And it doesn't look like right now he's going to get the chance to zero out too many people with that death mark.
Yep, defensive builds across the board. Cinder Hulk on Vi. Cho'Gath, very, very strong man. Unless you get in the Burn of Silence, he can wait for the death mark to silence you. Bloodthirster on Wild Turtle for the extra shield, and Kenning can ult himself to stun Zed when he goes in. So really High, relegated to split pushing or hoping to come in late during a team fight. Or maybe just ulted in a side lane. He's dead.
Everybody coming in for the fight here. Look at Bjergsen has even chugged a sorcery elixir 16 minutes into the game to add more damage to his Cho'Gath this time. Last time it was the Kog'Maw, but they want to make sure the points of spiking in their damage is right now.
It's getting to a point where Bjergsen's just going to hit level 9 and go buy an elixir. At this point, he's building it earlier in every game.
Every time.
The spike that TSM wants in power. This time, after just a Morellonomicon and a Seekers, he goes for it. But they end up getting a kill, and now they have an odd man fight. Down bottom, more turns.
Wow. Really seeing that each game so far. Obviously, this game has a lot to go, but games 2 and 3, games that TSM used to calibrate what they were doing, get the organization together. A very textbook start and roll to this game. 18 minutes in, 5K gold lead as TSM plays very calm and collected.
And 2 levels in the top lane matchup.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if Vladimir wins that matchup against Maokai if he's never getting experience. Maokai can then take it back on his side. 15 seconds till Dragon Rib. I think that's a really important thing here. TSM just needs to control that. They even have the teleport advantage, so the best that Cloud9 could hope for is that TSM commits Dyrus to the Dragon fight. Cloud9 needs to find a way of committing Dyrus to the Dragon fight without suffering any casualties so that Vladimir can get farmed up. That's the only win Cloud9 can take from this situation. assuming TSM plays well.
Well, Balls is backing right now. Teleport will not be up for him. Dyrus will be the one coming in here. So it looks like they may just have to give this one up again. They're warding it to show that they actually want to put some control on that area. Hopefully it buys him enough time for Balls to get back out here, but it looks like he is actually taking the path to the top lane.
I think that's what Balls should be doing. He needs to use his time to farm. But if they commit, if TSM commits Dyrus, you would hope that Vladimir can actually get multiple waves of farm and some turret pressure. Or Cloud9, they're just trying to trade objectives because TSM has so much control, especially with Bjergsen's Cho'Gath and the tank Vi to just fly in and set up an easy rupture. It's just objective trading through and through. But yeah, it's a completely forfeit there by Cloud9.
Yeah, we saw Elimination was already going toward Baron, making sure they have the ladder objectives covered to let this one go. They don't need to fall any farther behind here. Too much of a risk. 5-1 here as the second dragon, actually third dragon of the game gets picked up. A second one for Team SoloMid here. Reminiscent of that scoreline of last game. It was 20-4 in favor of TSM. 5-1. Keep that going. We get the same thing.
Looks like it. I mean, TSM is on the path to victory for sure here. Smart and controlled play. They do have a very low damage team composition if this game stretches to be too late. Tank Vi, Cinderhulk Frozen Heart, Righteous Glory Spirit Visage Maokai, Bloodthirster first 80 carry, Cho'Gath in the mid lane who can burst but doesn't have sustained damage. That team does not kill that many people late game. If it gets late game, Cloud9 could take this, but it has to get to 40 minutes somehow without the gold lead being greater than 10,000 and without TSM having 5 dragons.
Well, another 5,000 gold is what TSM is looking for right now. Nobody's going to throw a loan at them, so they have to get it themselves. Over here, Balls could be a bit of that funding. Looks like he's able to pull himself to safety here. So TSM starting to work the aggression around the map, getting any picks that they can, and the turrets are going to fall shortly here as Cloud9 is, I believe, going to start just using everything in defense to dodge these attacks from Team SoloMid. So effective.
So to be fair, that's more effective than you'd think because he broke the turret shield. The turret shield is very little now. Once you break it on the turret, it doesn't give any shield to the people hiding there. Lustboy understands this game right here.
He's saying you can't see me. Everything behind the curtain. You can see Cloud9 kind of spreading themselves thin here, walking back and forth. Elimination is trying to tend to multiple lanes, sweep multiple wards. High going down to the bottom side here. This is Cloud9 trying to, not make a move. That turret goes down, the pressure's relieved, and he needs to go as well.
Really solid play by TSM.
Yep.
Really just controlling the rotations. 5 turrets to 3, hoping to continue that pressure, get a 6th, get all the other turrets down. Then they can start pressuring Baron, and they can take Dragon on respawn. That's the plan for TSM. If they want to win their 3rd game in a row, get another reverse sweep on their opponent. Semifinals against Team Impulse, they lost the first game, won the next 3. Here against Cloud9, lost the first game, very close in game 2, carried by Bjergsen's AP Cogno. These last 2, though, as far as the first 20 minutes go, have been heavily in favor of TSM. They get stronger and stronger throughout these best-of-5 series. It's becoming a trademark of TSM.
Sticking with things that work as well, especially for Lustboy. If they're getting banned out consistently, stays with the Kennen and the Kalista 2 games in a row. Something we haven't seen all year from these guys. Really, any other region but LPL, to be honest. They're playing it quite well, however, and definitely showing that it's something they had in the back pocket. Ace in the sleeve, if you will. Looks like that Runons is finished up onto Wild Turtle. He's going to be really hard to get a lockdown on now, especially without having super hard crowd control here on the side of Cloud9. Hello. Oh, my word!
Whoa!
I was going to say he's getting dinner, but that would look like an appetizer.
I've said it before and I'll say it again, but good Lord, Bjergsen is crushing right now.
You know,
one rupture, instantly dead.
It's
Flash,
bad
eat, ignite.
when you wins. Whew, that hurt me. Wow. Bjergsen, no matter what champion he is on, he is ready to flash float forward and make instant plays. The lucidity boots for him as well, allowing him to keep spitting out that crowd control and silence. And it has picked him up another kill. Now over to Baron. This is pretty much uncontested. However, here's the teleport in from Balls. They're going for broke.
To contest.
They're
it's a
going
23-minute Baron. TSM actually takes a fair bit of damage here. Elimination goes really early.
Only a 2-man Hemo Plague actually going down on that. Good damage over to Turtle. Bjergsen's very hurt here. Lustboy and 400 HP just flashes over the wall, and that could easily be finished off if somebody focuses. They're tunneled onto Dyrus, though.
Oh.
How does he pop? Sneaky before he gets out. They're going to walk this one away. He's, however, bringing them over to Lustboy, and Lustboy is saying, "Don't you do that to me." What a hit. Gets Meteos on the slingshot over the wall. He's eventually going to go down, but he is completely buying time for the team, and Cloud9 is going to get hardly anything with TSM being down here.
TSM overestimates their ability to do Baron by far right there. 22 minutes does not fall very quickly. Bjergsen also was completely out of summoner spells before that fight. Therefore, when Cloud9 comes in, they destroyed them. Meteos gets off a Dream Ultimate, and Sneaky gets best case scenario fight. Not a Cho'Gath that can flash or feast you at any point. No cannon ultimate on Sneaky. Meteos is bouncing around.
Wow.
Sneaky is free hitting in the back because of no Dyrus until later on in the fight, and they were a sliver away from acing TSM right there if they picked off those two other guys. A horrendous call there by TSM to go for Baron. They had 6 turrets. They just had to wait for the Dragons to come up, and they give a small window for Cloud9 to come back.
That teleport from Dyrus, it looks like the entire team was just like, we have this. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Really could have been used a lot earlier, but you can always say something else about the fight after it's done. Played very well there by Cloud9. 4-7 on the scoreboard as they start to scratch back without letting TSM get too much along the way. Blade of the Rune King and Last Whisper now finished up here for High. He's going to be able to start cutting through some of these tanks that got to some very early items on Team SoloMid. Bjergsen's looking for his 3rd already, 25 minutes into the game.
Death cap goes down on a Bjergsen.
It's only 500 more gold for him.
He was already one-shotting people.
Yeah. One-shot the guy you want to stay alive. The guy who wants to one-shot your team. And High is not able to do that right now. This one's going to be taken down. See where Bjergsen's at right now. He is at 6 stacks. Yep, coming off of the Scuttle Crab.
Feasts up very quickly. 10,800 gold, almost 3,000 gold ahead of High.
Wow.
But the interesting thing is Sneaky at 9,700 gold, 500 more than Wild Turtle. If Sneaky gets to a point where he's got Infinity Edge, Phantom Dancer, Last Whisper, and Bloodthirster, as well as his Spell Shield, and he does not get caught by any major CCs from TSM, that's the Sivir dream in this game. Because it is a bunch of tanks, Sivir can try and ricochet through them, lifesteal up with the shield. If he avoids the major spike damage, he could try and one-man carry this Cloud9 team. It's highly unlikely that that happens, but that is what Cloud9 needs to work towards.
Right now, they are trying to split it up. Split push is the name of the game here. High tends to the side waves. We already saw him try to pressure the bottom, but Cloud9 is lacking a bit of control on the map. It's just easily stopped every time by Team SoloMid right now. Maybe some forward wards, something for Cloud9 to really put themselves back in this game. What's the fastest way they stop the bleeding right now?
For Cloud9?
Yeah.
It's mainly continuing to shove out these waves and giving up dragons all the way until number 5. The hardest part about this, though, is maintaining vision control around the Baron area without TSM taking it for free. Therefore, it's really hard to avoid overall fights because there's soon to be a Righteous Glory Maokai and a Cho'Gath. I mean, we already saw what happened when Bjergsen got caught. Now Lemon gets caught. Maybe they get a nice corridor fight.
Twisted advance, the pop-up. Nice let's bounce there from Meteos. The team has to assess the fight on the side of Team SoloMid. They get themselves into good positioning. Bjergsen, Lustboy, and Wild Turtle all on the back line. Able to fire forward here. Now moving into the fight. You gotta watch once the train is on the tracks. You better move. And here comes Bjergsen. The rupture goes off and just misses Sneaky. Got off the tracks for sure.
Yeah, that's just the power of TSM, forcing those fights around Baron. They know exactly what they need to do, oftentimes, in order to secure victory. They just had a little bit wrong 7 minutes ago. They have to win a fight before taking Baron. They can't just take Baron. This time they get a nice catch on Elimination. Dyrus miraculously stays alive. TSM takes Baron.
Strong fights coming from Team SoloMid. This fight almost actually mirrored what we saw earlier. If Meteos is on this side with Sejuani, that's the fight that won Cloud9 Game 1.
Yeah, good ultimate there, except it just hits 2 there. They didn't catch Bjergsen or Wild Turtle. That's the big thing. And positioning-wise, if we watch Sneaky, he's in a really good place right now. However, he's just not strong enough yet. You can see
Dyrus.
he can't cut through the Ninja Tabi Frozen Heart of Dyrus. If he had a Last Whisper, maybe he could, but that's only going to be in 1,000 gold. If the tank line would have gone down, then maybe Sneaky could have started doing something. But with the tank line in that corridor, until he crushes that down, they're not getting much. Now with Baron, it may be too late because Sneaky finally has his Last Whisper.
Indeed. It's going to be some big damage coming from Cloud9. Props to Wild Turtle from Dyrus there on that one. Summoner heal keeping him alive throughout that fight. Spirit Visage giving him a nice chunk to stay in it. TSM now pressuring even harder with that Baron. Now able to spread Cloud9 thin. Not the way they wanted it. They were hoping it was on their split push terms. And they're going to have to defend the base.
Giant Shogath eating your turret right now. Cloud9 is not in great position. They do not want to give up an inhibitor this early in the game, but it is such a powerful TSM tank line going into their base.
It might be inevitable, chat. You're going to have to watch out. Nobody can really get by Bjergsen. He's just going to shut you up and pop you up if you try to get through to the rest of the team. And they don't even have everybody here to start doing this. Dyrus still to the top side, knows he is safe, and TSM is working the advantage textbook style now as they're about to close it out for the win.
Yeah, and Bjergsen's level 16 right now, which means his ultimate does over 1,000 true damage. Cloud9 has to fight, but look out!
It's the go for broke here from Cloud9 on their front doorstep. They try one last time to stave off Team SoloMid. They get the wave clear to make sure it has to be a tank of the turret. Now with that next wave coming in, TSM is able to start walking through. Remember, the bottom inhibitor's already down. Minions are going to start crashing in if this isn't the final push, and it's only going to get harder for Cloud9.
Yeah, it may prep the final push, though, Riv. 2 inhibitors in quick succession during the Baron buff. Plus Cena coming in pretty big this game.
Yeah.
It's mainly been that Bjergsen Shogath, though. Just a monster. 1,050 damage from his feast. Also, not only does his silence shut you up, it also does close to 750 damage.
And he's got some relatively low cooldown.
Yeah. The ultimate now is 1,134 damage with the Baron buff. And true damage, that is.
Ugh. You're not getting out alive. You're going to be in his belly. And that's not fun.
Yeah, they actually are getting the third push while they still have the Baron buff.
This is, if you're going to take the final game, this is the way to do it. Losing game 1, but being able to come back stronger and stronger throughout each game consecutively. Now game 3, it looks like TSM could have had this from the get-go.
Yeah, very rarely does a team come back from 3 inhibs down. Meteos take some damage. TSM needs to wait for their minions, unless Cloud9 over-engages. Here we go.
Oh, the over-engage indeed. Elimination on the outside gets bounced. Dyrus, he wants it. Dives in onto balls. The Sanguine Pool saves him just at the last second. The 1v1 of Bjergsen and High. The bite goes down, but High is alive, and Bjergsen dies to the turrets. Turtle now is the focus. Depth charge into Anchor Toss. They lock him down with the passive, but he is hopping around way too much on Callista. Turtle a double. Turtle a triple. Turtle a quadra. Could he be coming up with a penta? High stays on the fountain. The quadra kill once again to come up with Team SoloMid's pivotal win on the North American Spring Split, and they will do it once again. The consecutive wins for Team SoloMid, the Nexus falls, and Team SoloMid are the 2015 North American League of Legends Championship Series Spring Split champions.
And just like that, it is over. Team SoloMid, their 3rd split championship in North America against the only other team to win a split championship there in Cloud9. It's the 2nd consecutive time they have beaten them, but also the fastest they have ever done so. 3 games to 1. TSM losing the first game in the series, and then taking the next 3.
Taking the next 3. One more dominant than the next, as he did at IM Katowice. Lustboy once again raises the trophy for his team, and they begin to pass it around. MVP Bjergsen, Rookie of the Split Santorin as well, showing up huge throughout this best-of-5 series against one of their biggest rivals, Cloud9.
Showered in confetti, Santorin, his first championship with TSM. Dyrus holds the trophy high. That is a lot of confetti.
If you're not first, you're last, says Dyrus. And this year, they are not last. That is right. Loco Doco, very proud to be the coach of Team SoloMid. Reginald, obviously very happy in the back as well. A lot of strength coming out of this team this season. I said it was both teams on the stage, or that were playing on the stage, 0 subs, 0 changes, and that's why the ones they were facing off here for the championship title. Team SoloMid was able to find the better fight, though.
You can tell they're quite happy with this victory, but we know their sights are set higher here. Now that they have secured the North American Spring Split Championship, they will be the North American representative at the Midseason Invitational. They also secured the most possible championship points.
That's right.
That can work towards Worlds. Championship points, always important, as Dash would tell you.
Well, we actually get to hear from the men themselves as they watch their step in a confetti-covered floor. We're going to throw it down to Dash, who is on stage with the victorious Team SoloMid.
Thank you, guys. As the confetti rains down, once again, I want to introduce you to your 2015 Spring Split Champions, Team SoloMid. Give it up! All right, gentlemen, congratulations. Loco, I'm coming to you. As the coach here, you have re-cemented yourselves as the top team in North America. How does that feel?
It feels really great. We had a really bad start to the year because we did pretty bad at IEM San Jose, but we won IEM Katowice, we won Spring Split, so our year is looking a lot better.
And you have this incredible group of players. Individually, all of them are stellar players. What has it been like working with them this season and watching them evolve as the split goes on?
Well, for coaches, it's really new. So right now, I feel like players matter a lot, and I honestly have a stacked deck. All our players are probably top 2 in their roles. Most of them, the best players in their roles in NA.
Yeah, obviously that helps when you have individually strong players. But TSM as an organization as well has had this storied history of tremendous success, always appearing in the NA finals, picking up tons of wins left and right. You know, is this the best TSM team yet? And will it get better?
Well, the only time it was better was when me and Reggie played. But other than that, iteration of the roster, this is probably the best yet.
I guess it's about as solid as an endorsement you guys can hope for when he previously played on the team. Anyway, I want to congratulate you guys again on your victory. We are going to be talking to the rest of the guys outside in the fan zone in just a moment. Reginald, happy birthday, by the way. This is a pretty sweet birthday present, I must say. And as we're making our way outside of the fan zone, we're going to toss it right back up to the casters for just a moment.
Thank you very much, Deed. Happy birthday, indeed, to Reginald. That is actually a very great present to be able to get. Yeah. I think he needs to get something the team
falls near the Spring Split Championship, which is always pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's the second of 3 of the Spring Split Championships they played. Last year, were not able to win the Spring Split. They got 3-0'd. Yeah. Much better year this year, I'd have to say.
That's right. And we are, as Das mentioned, going to hear from the entire team in just a few minutes, but we want to take a minute to talk about the series and the adversity that Cloud9 faced throughout it.
I mean, Cloud9, everyone will remember the 5-man Meteos Sejuani Ultimate in Game 1, but that is kind of the lone highlight for them.
Those were the glory days.
In that entire series. The glory days, that Game 1, when everything was looking up. But on top of that, after that happened, TSM kind of took over. Bjergsen in particular. Dyrus had a better performance. Looking at it game by game, you know, Game 2 was definitely Bjergsen's Kog'Maw. That thing had amazing power in that one. You can see they're trying to get their stuff out with the monstrous amount of confetti we have out here. This is actually a clip from what looks like the second game here.
Yep, this is where Bjergsen chases them out of the base. You see the power they have to respect of it.
Because this was a really close game. Right. Remember, this was supposed to be a back-and-forth series. It was looking like that towards the first 2 games. But then, this is where we first saw the power of the Kog'Maw chasing them out. Lustboy doesn't even get his Kennen ultimate off.
Right.
Takes a
You're
chunk
like,
of damage
uh-oh, nothing
beforehand.
will happen.
Dyrus doesn't land his Sion ultimate. Sejuani does land a 3-man ultimate, but really, this is Bjergsen who has to do the most damage in this fight. He gets the shred down onto balls, finishes him off, and still sitting with a pretty high mana pool throughout this.
Yeah.
Slows Meteos, continues on the chase. Without the performance that Bjergsen had in this game, TSM may not have been able to take this series whatsoever. Being down 2-0 could have ended up being devastating. They would have had to change up too much stuff. Hai actually gets a heal from Sneaky and then dies on the next shot anyways.
Yep.
Bjergsen was just landing shot after shot.
And even with our Bjergsen playing well, I'm trying to forget names here, so many names. Dyrus was also having a huge game on whatever he chose. Like we said, he kind of, with the bans, they brought balls down to his level, and Dyrus played that game all season long.
Hecarim banned in all these games. And Dyrus, he's the one who stepped up much higher than his normal potential here for TSM.
Absolutely.
Much higher KDA here, making a lot of his own plays. And also, when he was left on an island, either they were communicating well enough to know that he had backup coming, so he wasn't trapped under a turret by himself.
I think that's exactly what the next replay shows.
Yeah, but more so, he's actually able to turn some things around for his team and make plays of his own. Without that type of play, TSM doesn't have this as a backdoor sweep.
They don't. Actually, let's bring up the Dyrus play right now. This is the one where Lustboy was actually able to save him in that bottom lane. So still, even after Dyrus has been having a consistent game, Cloud9 focus and focus and focus him. And this is when TSM finally takes action, because usually they leave him alone.
This is actually when the game broke, because this was supposed to be a distraction from Balls of Sion in the bottom lane. You can see right there, getting chased down by Wild Turtles Corki. Whereas here in the top lane, Dyrus is supposed to die. But he auto-attacks enough through his passive, had his ultimate on before the die was there. Lustboy comes in to save the day, and then critically enough, perfect flash over a wall in a high-pressure situation. Unless you are right next to that wall and flash at the right angle, you do not make it through that wall. They end up winning on both sides of the map. TSM takes a huge advantage there, and this is what ended up breaking the game wide open for them.
Yep, that Dyrus TP.
The play didn't even end there. Dyrus, with the home guard boots, immediately after he got back into base, catches out Hai. TSM took Baron after this, and there was no looking back.
Only the plays that started the game were things that could change things for Cloud9, but that even got harder as the next replay shows that, as Loco Doco said in my interview with him at the beginning of the day with Charlie, Hai is going to be that factor that we're looking at, and Hai was actually first blood 3 times throughout this series if we bring up this next replay as well.
Yeah, it's a critical failure, unfortunately, for Cloud9. If Hai gets outperformed that heavily by Bjergsen, or if the mid lane focus of TSM proves successful, TSM gets to play their strategies properly. Hai dying again and again in the mid lane, whether it was from a gank, whether it was from just Bjergsen landing the right abilities. This was Hai in the Zed game. Watch Bjergsen here, because he knew when he was going to be hitting level 6. He walks in, lands the silence, hits a minion right there, immediately tries to flash, and Hai was actually on it, but because Bjergsen had such a big edge in the previous fight, even though this is an even-numbered engagement, Cloud9 gets wrecked. It's actually a 3v4 in the favor of Cloud9, but Hai died beforehand. It becomes a, quote, 4v4 when Lustboy arrives, and Lemonation, who was trying to catch them out, makes another flash mistake. His second major flash mistake of the series. You have to wait for the Twisted Advance to connect and then flash afterwards. Otherwise, it's just going to follow you right through. Lemonation gives up 2 kills, and that was a 2,000 gold lead 6 minutes into that match.
Yep. Looking throughout the game, even with the first one, with the great ultimate from Meteos, that's what they needed to win. That's what TSM's weakness was, right? We're just waiting right now as outside they are setting up in the fan zone. Everybody waiting. Cosplays look absolutely awesome today. And the fans obviously reeling if you're a Team SoloMid fan. Cloud9, they had a fantastic split, but definitely could not shake the troubles at the end.
And we're going to be hearing from the entire Team SoloMid team shortly as they're walking down that nice red carpet that is laid out outside for the Spring Split champions. 90 championship points. Bjergsen.
It's going to help.
Really, TSM. This is the best split they've ever had, if you think about it. They won Rookie of the Split, Coach of the Split, Spring Split MVP. And across North America and Europe, from the semifinals to the finals, were the only team to win in fewer than 5 games.
That's true.
Both of the series were 4. So
TSM
domination, if you look at it like that, has got to give them a lot of confidence heading into MSI.
And to MSI, indeed. Will they be able to carry this into mini worlds, as people are calling it? Because that puts you if you win on a pedestal or if you do well and fight well on a spotlight for teams to watch, and actually kind of puts a target on your head as well. So you got to go in there knowing that you got to win and be able to be strong so nobody can come back at you.
Some positive things for Team SoloMid you can see is they're going to be making their way out into the fan zone. They spent the entire split trying to become a more versatile team.
Yeah.
And the question will remain when they reach international competition as far as MSI goes. Will they be able to pull that stuff out on the world stage? Because every time they kind of default back into that mid-lane priority, Dyrus is left on an island. Dyrus is heavily punished.
Right.
Wild Turtle with his aggressive positioning is punished. The things the TSM have worked on this split are all very positive. Wild Turtle's become safer with his overall positioning.
Right.
You can see them now finally making it down the red carpet. And it's kind of a walk towards success. They adapted so much this split, hopefully making themselves a much more well-rounded, versatile team. And they just got to find their way through the fans.
That's one of those quantifiable things, right? I brought up earlier that Cloud9 kind of opened up Pandora's box the first time they won. They were just winning games. Nobody was really there to tell them different or say if they did something wrong in a game. It was just coming to them.
Right.
And that hasn't been able to be replicated here throughout the seasons. What you were saying with TSM, Wild Turtle could fix his problems. Dyrus could fix whatever teleporter communication problems. Those are ones that you can spot.
It's not Pandora's box. That's why TSM is succeeding.
Exactly.
It's a regiment of success, right? Loco Doco coaching, now able to walk down with the championship trophy right there. Loco Doco is not the only one. They have two analysts that they had live in with the playoffs.
Yes.
They have Reginald as the owner, who also doubles as an analyst, it feels like. A whole team of support for the team.
Yep.
It ends up making them a very, very potent opponent.
Really great how just actually the management has revolved around this team as well, with Reginald stepping down but still being a part of the team. The introduction of Lustboy being one of the best foreign introductions of a player into North America, and it has worked out very well for them. He seems to be acclimated to the North American scene, you could say.
Unique to Team SoloMid, their ability to pull that off. Having a Korean-speaking and English-speaking coach in Loco Doco who could help acclimate Lustboy to the team environment. We see in TSM's documentary all the time, TSM Legends, Lustboy is very much a part of the team, which has been a problem for other teams that bring in players from overseas.
Right.
But this time, TSM was able to get it done. And very shortly, we're going to have the 6-man interview with Dash.
Right. I believe we're also going to be able to get from Loco Doco as well, translating for Lustboy if we have any questions for him. So you're going to get everything you want, and we will be able to see Lucina for this interview, I promise.
Are you sure?
I hope so. As long as he doesn't do any of that crazy hand stuff, that jazz hands will be all right. So Team SoloMid coming out very strong. They predicted the first game loss to bring out 2 more.
I know.
And
they did it again.
Right?
At this point, stop losing game 1. Like, you could just be sweeping through these teams. Yeah, Loco Doco in the semifinals predicted a 1-3. Reginald also predicted a 1-3 in the exact same order that it happened. Stop losing game 1, guys.
Just take a pole position and go. It looks nicer, right? So right now we are going to hear from them. We're going to send it out to the fan zone for a word with our winners.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're going to get an opportunity here to talk to each of the members of the victorious Team SoloMid. So we're going to jump right into it. And Dyrus, I'm starting with you. The last time we spoke, we had a slightly real moment where you said, all I want to do is play some League of Legends. Well, today it looked like you had a little bit of an opportunity to play some League of Legends, and it paid off to the tune of North American champions. So how does that feel?
I think the context of it kind of been taken too far with the league thing. I meant as a joke. I was pretty salty, but yeah, it's great to be able to like do what I want to do in the game and do it correctly for the team. And as long as we're playing the game correctly, I'm happy. And I owe a lot to my team for that.
And every time I talk to you, we talk about, you know, the history of TSM and the way this fan base behind us has played into that. And so, again, I'm going to come back to you because you are always so invested with the fans and the success of TSM. So I want to give you a moment to speak to that.
Great. I just like to thank all of our fans, all of our sponsors, all of my teammates, all the generic stuff I say every single month and year, every time we win. I got nothing special. I think my team has something better to say.
All right, well then moving on to Santorin. You, sir, were named Rookie of the Split, and then you go ahead and get a championship title in your first split in the NALCS. So where do you go from here?
Right now we are focused on mid-season invitational, and after that, obviously, Worlds is like the huge thing that we really want to win, and that's our goal. We want to win Worlds. So winning North American LCS is a big thing for us, but in the bigger picture, winning Worlds is what we really want.
All right, and then for you individually in this series, interestingly, you're the only player on the stage, including Cloud9, that had not yet played in an NALCS finals. The other 9 guys had. So what was that like, walking into it knowing you're the only rookie out here, and you're fighting for that #1 spot?
I feel like I'm as big a part of the team as everyone else, and I don't feel as much pressure because I know my team will always have my back. So even if I make mistakes, my team will always be there and help me out. So I felt really good going into the games, and I felt like we were going to win because we are really strong right now.
All right, and then Bjergsen, to you. Talk about a little bit of pressure. A lot of people were throwing a ton of weight onto that mid lane matchup between you and Hai, saying that if Hai can come out on top or even, Cloud9 might have an edge. So there had to be a little bit of pressure coming in there, but I actually want to talk to you about your champion diversity in which you came into this. You played Ahri, Urgot, Kog'Maw, and Cho'Gath, all different play styles, all different, I mean, these champions differ so much, and yet you mastered all of them and were able to play them to the, to their fullest potential.
I definitely didn't play them perfectly, and there's still a lot to learn. Like, you can play a lot of champions on like a decent level or mediocre level, and it can still look like I play them to like super well, I'll play them to perfection, but I really didn't. There's always more to learn, and there's a long way to go for me and my team if we want to win Worlds.
All right, well, you have some time to do that. MSI coming up, and then Summer Split preparing for Worlds. Wild Turtle, last year, when we were going through the finals, we watched you get quadra kills, make some pretty crazy aggressive outplays on Tristana and other AD carries. Was there an extra element of pressure or like a feeling that you had to live up to that same performance? Or did this team here allow you to kind of, as Santorin say, rest on the fact that they can all pick up the slack too?
Yeah, I can always count on my teammates to like do well like every game. Like Lustboy, Darius, Centaur, Bjerg, they all do really well like every game. So all I do is like take the backseat and then I'll say, yeah, I'll carry you guys on 25. Just like let me chill till then. So that's usually how our team dynamic is, and I really have a lot of trust in all my teammates.
All right, and one of your teammates in the bot lane, Lustboy, Loco, if you don't mind translating here for me. I want to know how you dealt with these bans, because it was rather unexpected for us. You had 2 bans targeted at you each game, and you pulled out the Kennen and had a fair amount of success with it. Well, were you expecting to be targeted like that?
일단 C9이랑 스크림을 플레이오프에서 굉장히 많이 했는데 스크림에서 스레시로 굉장히 좋은 모습을 많이 보여줬기 때문에 무조건 스레시를 변할 거란 걸 알았고 솔직히 잔날까지 변할지는 몰랐지만 만약에 쓰레쉬 잔나까지 나한테 밴을 투자하면 우리가 많이 이득을 볼 수 있다고 생각했어.
So, playing versus C9, in the prep for playoffs, we scrimmed versus them a lot. So, and Lustboy did really well on Thresh, so he expected them to ban Thresh, but we weren't that prepped for the Janna ban. But when they banned Janna, that's 2 bans used on a support, so he thought the team overall would get a better comp.
All right, so then I do want to ask you about the Kennen pick specifically, because it's something that we've seen overseas quite a bit, and we were wondering if and when it would make its appearance here in North America. So how do you feel about that champion in particular as a support, and why did you feel ready to bring it out today?
캐논은 해외에서 존나 많이 쓰잖아. 근데 우리가 그렇게 많이 연습을 하지 않았었고 메꿔냈고 그리고 캐논 하는 거 그냥 캐논에 대해서 얘기하면 돼.
일단 캐넨이 해외에서 굉장히 많이 쓰이는 픽이기 때문에 몰래 솔로큐에서 뜸스님 연습했고 스크림에서도 나쁘지 않은 성적을 보여줬기 때문에 대회에서 꺼낼 수 있었고 평소에 시즌 1, 시즌 2 때 내가 솔로큐에서 캐넨을 많이 했기 때문에 다시 꺼내는데 큰 어려움이 없었다.
So Kennen's used a lot overseas, especially in China. So we practiced it a bit in scrims, but he played it a lot in solo queue. And also, Lustboy used to play a lot of Kennen back in Season 1 and 2, so he was really ready to just bring it out.
All right, well, you performed phenomenally on it and even showed that you don't have to pair it with the Kalista in order for it to be useful. Loco, I'm coming to you with my final question here, which is, as Bjergsen mentioned, your ultimate goal is Worlds. and international competition. Well, you have a little bit of a pit stop here at MSI where you get to source some of that international competition. So I want your opinion on how you think this TSM roster here is going to do and match up against the rest of the world.
Okay, we're gonna win.
There you have it. Why is that? Why do you think you're gonna win?
Because Turtle did this. It means we're gonna win.
All right, Turtle's confidence translates into victories. If only we knew that, if it was that easy. All you need is Turtle to give you one of these. Well, you all played incredibly well, but the man who claimed our championship MVP is the same man who took our spring split MVP, Bjergsen. Now, in this series, he showed incredible champion diversity playing Urgot, Ari, Kog'Maw, and Cho'Gath while only giving up 2 deaths in their 3 wins. Bjergsen, spring split MVP, we got to talk to you a little bit about that. Now series MVP, what does that tell you in terms of your ability to handle pressure and know that you can step up all season long, and then even when the pressure's still on, you can still perform?
I think the regular season builds up very well towards the playoffs. You get a lot of comfort playing against the teams you're playing against. You just get a lot of comfort playing with your team. So just going into playoffs, I take it as pretty much any other LCS match. Like, I just have to play my game. I just have to play as well as I can, and that's how we're going to win. We're not going to win because I'm nervous or I'm jittery or anything like that. So I just need to go in with the mindset that it's just an important match, but this is a match we can handle and a match we can win.
And so often we talk about the infrastructure and the synergy that exists within this team and how confident you are in the rest of the players on your team. What does that do for you as an individual in terms of allowing you to make jumps at plays and look to be that huge hyper carry that, kind of pushes you to that MVP status, having these 4 guys behind you?
I don't feel like I'm always making like the big plays and things like that, especially in the Kog'Maw and the Urgot games. I was just farming and looking for the scaling, where my team was really the one setting out the plays and making the plays all around the map. So I have a lot of faith in my team that they'll do well, and I think our picks reflect that, and our playstyle also reflects that.
All right, and finally to you, Dyrus, I want to ask you one more question about Bjergsen here, our MVP. You have been in the professional scene for so long. You've seen numerous mid laners, players in general, come in and out of the scene, rise to dominance, fall from dominance, retire. Few and far between, this, that, and the other thing. How do you feel Bjergsen stacks up against all the other great players you've played with?
So he's very comparable to Reginald. Of course, it's called Team SoloMid for a reason. Reginald was basically the MVP of, every game he played almost, whether we won or lost. No, just kidding. But yeah, Reggie used to try and shot call and micromanage while winning his lane at the same time with certain champions. Right now with Bjerg and the rest of the team and like just having a coaching staff and analysts, a lot of that burden is lifted. So even though Bjerg kind of has priority over the calls, everyone kind of already knows what to do. So when Bjerg makes calls, it's really easy to get across because everyone understands what he needs to do, and because of that, he's able to play his game mechanically correctly every single game, win by a certain amount of CS if the enemy mid laner doesn't play as well, and he just hard carries through that. And in team fights, we talk about what to do and everything. It's really hard to compare it to the past because League has come so far.
All right, that's very fair. But again, gentlemen, I want to congratulate you on your victory today. It was very hard fought and well done. We are going to pull up the champion points to see how the teams are set up heading into summer. Team SoloMid claims the top award of 90 points with their 3-1 win over Cloud9. These will become incredibly important as teams compete for a spot at Worlds and a shot to hoist the Summoners Cup. That's just about going to do it for us today, but we will be back next week with more league action with the Summer Promotion Tournament. In that, teams from North America and Europe will face off to battle for a spot in the LCS for the upcoming Summer Split. The action starts on Saturday in Europe with Giants Gaming taking on Reason, followed by Rokat versus Copenhagen Wolves Academy. Then on Sunday, we'll get back to North America. Team Dignitas will battle Team Fusion, and we'll conclude the day with Winter Fox versus TDK. And remember, if you're going to be in the Tallahassee area, May 7th through May 10th, you can come out and see the teams and see Team SoloMid and other top teams from around the world compete in the mid-season invitational. They said they're going to win, so you can go out there and hold them to that personally. Space is still available on lolesports.com. Just click the tickets link for all the details. Once again, a big congratulations to our champions, Team SoloMid, and we want to extend a very special thanks for all the fans who tuned in and came out today to cheer on the teams. It has made this an unforgettable event and the perfect way to close out the first split in our new studio home. Now for myself, the casters, and the entire live broadcast crew. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Welcome to the 2015 North American League Championship Series.
That was beautiful. CLG fans, here's the team you guys were waiting for.
Sends the rocket out for a bit of scouting and maybe some damage.
Oh no! He got it! That was a headshot. Can he get one more? Peacemaker.
Keith is fed.
Team SoloMid persevere. And they take the Counter-Logic Gaming.
Oh my word! Executive produced by Zhao Wei Zhao. I felt that I would be with Dig forever.
I want to show that I have what it takes to be like the best.
가족인 것 같아.
이젠 꿈이야.
Piglet's a really big wild card. Is he going to play at the caliber of a Season 3 World Champion? And that's something that could be a big problem.
You can tell how fat Piglet is now. Team Liquid takes down Counter-Logic Gaming to move on. And Team Impulse will move on to take on Team SoloMid in the semifinals.
When you come in 6th place out of 6 teams, you're going to be the underdogs the whole way through.
They're able to clean house. The reverse sweep for Cloud9.
Team SoloMid in 4 games, heading to the finals.
The only teams that have won in North America, C9 and TSM.
It's currently TSM's, and I really don't want them to keep it, you know?
Ladies and gentlemen, it all comes down to this.
History repeats itself, and this is going to be a good one. Medium with a 5-man Sejuani ultimate!
There is so much energy out here right now. Beautiful fans supporting their teams.
Turtle a double, turtle a triple, turtle a quadra! Team SoloMid are the 2015 North American League of Legends Championship Series Spring Split champions.